to feel worse. And it affects like every single part of your life.
That's it, exactly.
That's the invisible, relentless reality for so many people after a stroke. And it's the heart of our deep dive today. We're tackling post-stroke fatigue, or PSF. It's really widely experienced, but honestly, often misunderstood.
Very much so.
So our mission today, to arm you with the clearest, most practical insights from some comprehensive sources, give you a sharp understanding of what PSF really is, why it happens, and crucially, some actual actionable strategies for managing it, for reclaiming your quality of life.
It's actually striking how pervasive this is, yet how often it's sort of brushed off as just tiredness, maybe even by people really close to stroke survivors.
Yeah.
So we're going to pull back the curtain on this a bit, clarify what it truly means to live with PSF, whether it's for you or maybe for something you care about. It's about providing context that goes, well, way beyond just the surface symptoms.
Exactly. Empowering with understanding.
Precisely.
And our promise to you listening is a deep dive structured for clarity, packed with practical tools, and really designed to connect the dots, hopefully giving you those aha moments that cut through all the information overload out there.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's jump right into this often hidden world.
Right.
We all get tired, don't we? A long day, tough workout, maybe a rubbish night's sleep.
We know that deep physical need for a nap.
Sure, that's normal human experience.
But what we're talking about with post-stroke fatigue is, well, it's a whole different beast. It's not just needing more sleep. Actually, that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions, isn't it?
It truly is. The core distinction of post-stroke fatigue PSF is that it's fundamentally different from normal tiredness. And the key is it doesn't seem to get better with rest.
This isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a persistent, profound exhaustion that often just defies the usual solutions.
And what's really important here, something our sources make clear, is it's not just linked to major strokes. It can happen after any type of stroke, big or small. And what might surprise you even more is that it can happen after a transient ischemic attack, what lots of people call a TIA or a mini stroke.
That's a crucial point. And the symptoms, they vary, but generally you'll feel this profound lack of energy or strength, just a constant physical and mental weariness. And its severity isn't necessarily tied to how, visibly severe the stroke was initially.
Yeah.
It can range from mild kind of persistent annoyance to something completely debilitating, really interfering with daily life.
And this next bit is a real, well, it changes how you think about it. PSF is not always caused by being more active or working harder.
Right, that's counterintuitive for many.
Think about that. You might just need to rest or sleep more than usual, yet you still wake up feeling just as drained, maybe even more so. It really challenges that idea that you've somehow earned this exhaustion through effort.
Which then leads to the question. If it's so different from ordinary tiredness, what are the actual real-world impacts?
Yeah, what does it mean day to day?
Well, it isn't just a feeling. It actively gets in the way of your ability to take part in everyday activities. And really critically, it can significantly hinder your recovery and rehab efforts. Understanding that difference is just vital for moving forward.
Okay, so who can actually experience this invisible challenge?
Well, the sources suggest it affects most stroke survivors.
Most. Wow.
Yeah. And here's where it gets really counterintuitive again. You can experience severe fatigue even after a relatively mild stroke, or a TIA.
So it's not about the initial visible damage?
Not necessarily. It seems to be more about the complex sort of internal recovery process the brain and body are going through.
Okay. And does it stick around?
Its persistence is quite remarkable too. This fatigue can still be a big problem, even if you've made what looks like a full physical recovery, or even if your stroke was, quite some time ago.
Right.
It might start soon after the stroke.
Yeah.
And often it does improve over time, but it can also just pop up sometime later, which, as you can imagine, can be incredibly confusing and distressing for people and their families.
Yeah, I bet. It's actually described by many people, according to our sources, as the most difficult and upsetting problem they have to cope with after a stroke.
Think about that.
Yeah.
More difficult than, say, physical limitations for some.
Exactly. It can profoundly affect your ability to engage in rehab, regain independence, maybe return to work, socialize, or just enjoy everyday stuff. And imagine the strain it puts on relationships, trying to explain to loved ones how genuinely exhausted you feel day in, day out, when, outwardly you might seem okay.
It's that invisible struggle, isn't it? Few people truly get it unless they've been through it or understand it deeply.
That's a really powerful picture you've painted. So if it's this persistent, often invisible, and so widespread, what exactly is going on under the surface? Why do stroke survivors feel this way?
Yeah, the why. It's far from a simple answer, as you might guess.
Right.
But our sources break down the multiple contributing factors quite nicely. It shows how intricate the body's response can be. It's not just one thing.
Like a perfect storm.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what's really insightful is how PSF isn't just one problem, but maybe a synergistic storm, as you put it. The brain's internal healing, the physical demands of rehab, even the emotional landscape, they all seem to amplify each other.
Okay.
It's this compounding effect, often invisible, that makes it feel so relentless.
A synergistic storm. I like that. Okay, let's start with the physical effects of the stroke itself. I mean, it makes sense that in the early weeks and months, your brain and body are healing intensely. That process alone must be profoundly tiring, Ray, like a massive, unseen internal repair job.
Absolutely. That healing demands enormous energy resources. And then you layer on the rehabilitation demands.
Oh.
The process of learning to do things in a completely new way, or just performing demanding exercises, that can be incredibly draining.
Makes sense.
Beyond that, the stroke itself, or even just being in hospital for a while, can lead to a significant loss of physical fitness and strength. And if you have reduced mobility, well, that only further contributes to feeling fatigued.
It's like your body's suddenly working much harder just to do basic things.
Pretty much. The sources point out that if you have muscle weakness, even simple movements like walking can demand much more energy than they did before your stroke. So yeah, it's an energy drain for fundamental functions.
Okay, moving to emotional changes. This seems like a tricky area because there's overlap, right?
There is, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's crucial to acknowledge the significant overlap. Fatigue shares many signs with depression, like feeling low, anxiety, sleep problems, general tiredness.
But they're not the same thing.
And that's where it gets tricky. Our sources really stress that fatigue is not the same thing as depression. But honestly, it isn't always easy to tell the symptoms apart.
Mm-hmm.
People can absolutely have both at the same time. And the sheer burden of the fatigue itself can cause low mood and anxiety. So it can become a really vicious cycle.
So less chicken and egg, more like a tangled knot.
That's a good way to put it. The clear advice here is always talk to your GP.
Right.
Explain what you're experiencing. Discuss potential treatment options for depression, maybe medication, maybe counseling, if emotional changes seem to be playing a big part.
Okay.
It's also worth asking about local fatigue management services. Sometimes they offer holistic help with things like healthy eating, activity, fitness, managing the emotional side too.
And remembering that you know your body best.
Absolutely. Communicating what you feel is paramount.
Okay, so beyond the maybe more obvious physical and emotional causes, our sources point to several other factors, things that can quietly add to this exhaustion, making it even harder to pin down.
Yeah, these often get overlooked. First up, sleep problems.
Like insomnia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Insomnia or things like sleep apnea where your breathing gets interrupted during sleep, both can make you feel incredibly sleepy and unrefreshed during the day.
And physical discomfort, too.
Definitely. Don't underestimate that. Muscle stiffness or joint pain can severely mess up your nighttime rest.
Okay, what else?
Then there's diet. If you're having difficulties with swallowing or chewing, which can happen after a stroke,
Right.
that can directly affect how much energy and vital nutrients you're actually getting from your food, leading to, a depleted energy reserve.
Makes sense. And underlying health issues.
Yes, important not to forget those. Conditions like anemia, low iron, or diabetes, or an underactive thyroid gland, these can independently cause tiredness, basically compounding the post-stroke fatigue you're already dealing with.
And pain itself.
Pain plays a huge role. Post-stroke pain, whether it's muscle pain or headaches, can significantly drain your already fragile energy levels.
Okay, one more big one. Medication.
Yes, medication side effects, a really notable factor that often goes overlooked. Some common medications, things like beta blockers for high blood pressure, certain epilepsy drugs, even some antidepressants, can actually list fatigue as a known side effect.
Wow. So this leads to a really crucial piece of advice, doesn't it?
Absolutely critical. If you even suspect your medication might be contributing to your fatigue, you need to discuss it. Talk about potential side effects with your GP or your pharmacist.
There might be alternatives.
Often there are. Different types of medication might be an option. But, and this is crucial, we really can't stress it enough, Never stop taking any prescribed medication without speaking to your GP first.
Don't just stomp on your own.
Never. Your health professional is your guide here. Full stop.
Okay, we've really peeled back the layers on what post-stroke fatigue is and why it happens, which is fascinating. But the critical next step for anyone grappling with this is understanding what you can actually do about it.
Right. The practical strategies.
Yeah. Our sources provide some incredibly practical advice. And while they're clear, there's no single magic bullet treatment.
Unfortunately not.
It's really about smart strategies and consistent self-aware effort.
What truly stands out here, I think, is the power of individual agency and understanding. Yes, medical guidance is paramount, absolutely.
Of course.
But so many effective strategies are actually within your daily control. It's about focusing on understanding your body's new rhythm and consciously adapting to it, shifting from just, enduring it to actively managing it.
Okay, so let's start with those essential first steps. What's non-negotiable?
Non-negotiable is getting individual advice from a GP or another relevant health professional. That's step one.
Why is that so vital?
To make sure any underlying health problems contributing to the fatigue, like the ones we just discussed, anemia, thyroid issues, are identified and properly addressed, you need that solid foundation.
Right, rule out other causes.
Exactly. Your GP or stroke nurse can check for those medical conditions. It's also a good idea, as we mentioned, to ask your GP for a review of your current medication for potential side effects.
Because fatigue often improves with time or a change.
It can, yes. Or with a different medication. Again, that gentle but firm reminder. Always consult your GP before making any changes yourself.
Got it. And what about telling others?
Crucial. Since your tiredness is often this invisible burden, helping others understand is paramount. Share information, maybe like this deep dive with family and friends.
So they get what you're going through.
Precisely. So they can grasp what you're truly experiencing. This way they can offer better, more informed, and genuinely empathetic support rather than just saying, why don't you try harder?
Yeah. Avoid those misunderstandings. Okay, now let's dive into something really clever, almost a paradigm shift in managing energy. It's called the 3 Ps framework: pace, plan, and prioritize. It sounds like managing a personal energy budget. Being strategic, not just pushing through. It sounds straightforward, but why is this simple framework seemingly so effective when just resting more often isn't?
That's a great question. It's effective because it shifts you from passively hoping things get better to actively managing your energy, especially crucial for a recovering brain. Traditional rest often doesn't really address the neurological and physiological roots of PSF.
Okay.
The 3 Ps provide a structured approach to respect your body's new limits rather than fighting against them constantly.
So break them down for us. Pace.
Pace means truly thinking about how you can take things step by step at a manageable speed for you, specifically trying not to trigger your fatigue. It's all about moderation, not brute force.
Okay. Plan.
Plan involves working out what you want and need to do, and critically, planning when and how you can do it. Anticipation and foresight become your best friends here.
And prioritize.
Prioritize is where you make conscious decisions. Which activities are genuinely important to you right now, and which ones can you realistically leave for another time or maybe get some help with? It's about making choices that protect your precious energy levels.
That makes a lot of sense. And our sources strongly advise against just trying to jump back in and do all the things you used to do before the stroke.
Absolutely. You might genuinely need to slow down significantly to conserve energy.
Lowering expectations.
Temporarily lowering expectations can actually help you build stamina in the long run, counterintuitively. And this is so important, something many struggle with. Don't push yourself on a day you feel slightly better.
Oh, that's tempting, though.
Hugely tempting. But that burst of activity often leads to paying for it with days of exhaustion afterwards. It's a cruel payback.
So what's the alternative on a good day?
Still stick to your plan. Maybe enjoy feeling better without overdoing it. Take proper breaks before or after activities, even seemingly gentle ones like having a long chat or eating a meal.
Right, even those take energy.
They do. For more detailed tips on this, the Royal College of Occupational Therapists website, rklet.co.uk, Conserving Energy, has some really excellent practical advice.
Okay, beyond the brilliant 3 Ps, what other practical tips are there for daily life?
Well, allowing adequate recovery time is crucial, psychologically as well as physically, except that it can take many, many months for post-stroke fatigue to lift, if it does fully. That acceptance itself can really aid your coping mechanisms.
Not fighting it so hard.
In a way, yes. And you really need to find your personal daily activity limit. Learn how much you can do in a day. Maybe it's 4 hours of activity interspersed with proper rests without becoming completely wiped out. And then, the hard part, commit to sticking to it.
Listen to your body's new signals.
Exactly. Which leads to the next tip. Keeping a diary.
Tracking things.
Yes, either written or visual, whatever works for you. Tracking your activities can be incredibly powerful. It helps you see progress, however small, understand your specific activity limits, and crucially, identify your personal fatigue triggers. What makes you crash?
And focusing on the positive.
Definitely. Don't forget to celebrate successes. It's so easy to get bogged down in frustrations about what you can't do anymore. Consciously shift your focus to what you can accomplish, no matter how small it seems. That positive reinforcement is a powerful motivator.
Good point. What about actual rest and sleep?
Right, rest and sleep. You might well need to rest or nap during the day. However, and this is a bit tricky, if you're struggling with poor sleep at night,
Like insomnia.
then it's generally best to try to avoid daytime napping, as that can disrupt your nighttime sleep even further. Focus instead on establishing a good, consistent bedtime routine and making your sleep environment as comfortable and conducive to sleep as possible.
Okay. And building up activity levels?
Slowly does it.
Hmm.
Building stamina and strength slowly is critical. Gradually increase your activity, but without overdoing it, because pushing too hard can paradoxically make your fatigue worse.
Get professional help.
Absolutely. Seeking help from a physiotherapist for a tailored, gradual program is highly recommended. Our sources also mention their Getting Active After a Stroke guide for more ideas.
Diet seems fundamental, too.
It really is. A healthy, balanced diet is foundational for energy. Carbohydrates like bread, pasta, potatoes, they're excellent sources of sustained energy. Aim for at least 5 portions of fruit and vegetables daily.
And if eating is difficult?
Yes, if you're experiencing difficulties with swallowing or eating, seeking support from a registered dietitian is essential to make sure you're getting the nutrition you need.
And finally, reaching out.
So important. Don't try to go through this alone. Seek support. Your GP or occupational therapist can be great resources. They can connect you with local stroke clubs, maybe counseling services, relaxation programs, suitable exercise groups, or even alternative therapies if that's something you want to explore.
Support networks.
Exactly. And don't forget the Stroke Association helpline. They can provide details of support available in your specific area. They are there to help guide you.
Okay, let's talk about work. For many people, getting back to work is a huge, really meaningful goal. It represents a vital step towards, normalcy and independence.
Absolutely. It's a major milestone.
But fatigue, being often invisible, can be a significant hurdle in that transition back to work. Our sources offer some really specific, actionable advice here for navigating that quite complex path.
And it raises an important question, doesn't it? How can you truly balance that understandable desire to return to professional life with the very real, often fluctuating limitations that fatigue imposes?
Yeah, how do you square that circle?
It really comes down to strategic planning, open communication, and effectively advocating for your needs within the workplace environment.
Okay, so what's a key strategy?
One that's often recommended is considering a phased return.
Starting gradually.
Exactly. Don't try to jump back in full-time, 5 days a week immediately. Maybe start with part-time hours, perhaps just a couple of hours each day or maybe every other day, and then gradually build up your capacity over time as you see how you cope.
And being aware of when fatigue hits.
Incredibly important. Be aware that fatigue often strikes later in the day for many people, that feeling of just hitting a wall.
Right.
So to manage this, consciously start with manageable tasks and working hours that accommodate your current energy levels. Maybe focusing more demanding tasks earlier in the day if possible.
Can occupational therapists help with work?
They can be an invaluable ally here, yes. An OT can assess your specific workplace environment and advise on practical things, like adapting equipment or changing work practices or routines to better suit your new needs.
How do you get that?
Your GP or sometimes your employer can refer you for this kind of workplace assessment.
And taking your time, not rushing back.
Also crucial, give yourself plenty of time to recover from your stroke before even considering a return to work. Putting undue pressure on yourself to rush back could actually make the process harder. It might even worsen your fatigue and set back your overall recovery.
What about talking to the boss?
Open, honest communication with your employer is absolutely key.
Be upfront.
Yes. Talk openly about your stroke and specifically how it has affected you, especially regarding the fatigue. This transparency helps them understand and allows them to make what are often called reasonable adjustments.
Like more breaks.
Exactly. Things like more frequent breaks, maybe flexible starting or finishing times, adjustments to your workspace. These are legally protected in many places, but they often depend on the employer knowing what's needed.
And colleagues?
Extend that communication to your colleagues, too, if you feel comfortable. Explain your post-stroke fatigue. Because, as we keep saying, this tiredness isn't visible.
Right.
Colleagues are genuinely unlikely to know about it or understand it unless you tell them. This can prevent potential misunderstandings or, unfair expectations.
Makes sense. And there are resources for this too.
Yes. For more in-depth information specifically on work, you can refer to resources like A Complete Guide to Work and Stroke.
So we've really covered a lot of ground today.
We really have, from truly unpacking what post-stroke fatigue is to dissecting its complex, multifaceted causes.
And most importantly, hopefully arming you with practical, adaptable strategies for managing it, both in daily life and even when considering that intricate path back to work.
And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, the real shift is from simply enduring this condition to actively managing your energy in your life after a stroke.
Taking control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Knowledge, clear communication with those around you and your healthcare providers, and, importantly, deep self-compassion. Those are your most valuable allies in this journey.
Yeah.
Remember, you listening, you are the expert on your own situation. Your unique experience is valid and important. Don't let anyone dismiss it.
Such an important message. So if you identify with these symptoms, or maybe you know someone who does, please reach out.
Don't suffer in silence.
No, your GP, a therapist, or support organizations like the Stroke Association are there to help. You can call their helpline. The number is 0303-303-100.
That's 0303-100.
Or email helpline@stroke.org.uk, or visit their websites, stroke.org.uk and mystrokeguide.com.
Lots of ways to connect.
Definitely. And it's just so important to remember that individual advice from a professional is crucial for managing your specific situation. Everyone's journey with this is unique.
Absolutely. And maybe for a final provocative thought for you, the listener, to take away.
Go on.
If our deep dive today shows that even relatively mild strokes can cause severe invisible fatigue, what does that fundamentally challenge about how we, as a society, think about recovery? And maybe the support we offer to all stroke survivors, regardless of how severe their stroke looked initially.
That's a powerful question.
And perhaps, what small daily actions can we all take to foster more understanding and patience for anyone facing unseen battles? Not just after a stroke, but really in any aspect of life.
Yeah.
What stands out to you listening about how you might apply what you've learned today, either to better support yourself or perhaps someone around you?
Some really important things to think about there. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
We really hope you feel a little more informed and perhaps a bit more empowered to tackle life's invisible challenges.